All right, check the mic. We're live, first reacting Monday Night Football to the Texans-Bucks game. Bucks get the win 20-19. Wild finish in Houston. Bucks move to 2-0. Texans fall to 0-2. A lot of scoring early on. Not a lot of scoring for a while, but the Bucks, the final drive, Baker Mayfield and the Bucks capped off by Rachaad White with a 3-yard touchdown. Bucks get the win. What a crazy finish this was, Sam.
Yeah, weird game. I mean, I thought for a while it was going to be a shootout. I mean, we were getting scores, the first few drives, and then there was a little bit of a lull, and then another score just after the start of the second quarter, and then nobody scored again for like most of the game. It was just defensive battle, and not defensive battle because both offensive lines are trash. Just like, okay, Tampa Bay, they lost right tackle Luke Gedeke. They already, are missing Tristan Wirfs, so that the whole offensive line is already shuffled. The line was effectively shuffled specifically to keep Charlie Heck out of the lineup, and then Gedeke goes down. Charlie Heck has to come in anyway. And it's like, well, now the entire line is just a disaster. So Baker's under insane pressure. Stroud is under insane pressure because this line is just bad anyway. And the whole thing was just like two gutsy quarterbacks, trying to game it out, just getting murdered behind terrible offensive lines against good defenses. And that was most of the game until the kind of late game madness.
I think that's well summed up. You're right. I mean, no Tristan Wirfs. Graham Barton, the center, moved out to left tackle. We talked about him last week and how he held his own, but there's 3, 4, 5 plays where he just got overpowered. That happened again tonight, especially when you're going up against Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson on the other side with the Texans. So many key plays in the game. One of them, Texans are up 5. Bucks have a 4th down and very quickly decide to go for it in their own territory. The Texans send the house. This is the type of, it's like the Spags blitz, right? Game on the line. We're sending the house. And you look back, and a lot of times, you tipped ball or something, they got to force a pass early, and you're like, wow, look at that aggressive 4th down call. This time they have Baker Mayfield completely bottled up, and he just sneaks through there. And once he gets through the pass rush, wide open for about a 15 or 16-yard run to keep things going. And those were the types of plays. He had 2 of those really important scrambles to just keep the Bucks alive in this game.
That play, I mean, I tweeted a picture of it as well. Like the pocket that he escaped out of was a minor miracle. I mean, it was collapsed in on him from every angle, and he somehow escaped, took off running, made the play. The weird thing about the game is that there was like a sequence, in the fourth quarter of like major turning points, each of which you think, okay, that's going to be the pivot point of this game. No, this one's going to be the pivot point. And none of them were, like, up until the end. It's like, so, Tampa Bay makes that really impressive stop where the Texans was it 1st and goal from the 8, got most of that on the first down, 6, 7 of the yards to Nico Collins, and then couldn't get in for a yard for the next 3 plays. That was a really critical play. I thought Rachaad White was going to have saved the game by Baker Mayfield takes off scrambling, knocks the ball loose from his own hand with his left hand. And then Rachaad White launches himself into a car crash to dive on the loose ball, saves that. I was like, well, that's a game-saving play.
Great fumble recovery there.
But then almost immediately, the Texans block a punt. And it's like, well, okay. the amazing fumble recovery did nothing because it basically turned it over anyway. Just an amazing sort of sequence of never-ending CJ Stroud under pressure when the Bucks sent the house, threw the ball right to Levante David, and if David wasn't there, it would have been right to Vita Vea, and if Vita Vea wasn't there, there was someone else behind him as well. It had to pass through 3 separate Tampa Bay Buccaneers to get to the guy he was aiming it at.
That was Tyler Shuck territory, Sam. We gave Shuck crap for the throw the ball right to the CJ Stroud. Looks as unprepared for any kind of pressure. The Texans look as unprepared for any kind of blitz look, any kind of pressure, just as unprepared as they were last year. But that drive, that's where the Texans left so much meat on the bone. They got the free yardage from the free field position from the block punt, the special teams unit. They go 4 plays or 3 plays, no yards, and just kick a 53-yard field goal to go 14-13. Then they get the long Jalen Noel punt return with a potential block in the back. Like you said, all the turning points, there was a lot of turning points that were in Houston's favor too, but in the end, unable to capitalize.
Well, I hadn't even, finished with it, with the entire list of things that we're still, you think, well, that's going to be the play. Yeah. You have the punt return, Nick Chubb ends up with the one sort of successful run that they have for like half an hour or whatever it was of game time. They finally take the lead and you're like, well, that's it. And then Baker Mayfield gets that situation that early in Baker's career, no chance. Like he had so many of these plays, like, okay, you're down a score with 90 seconds left in the game or in the half, and almost every single time he failed to come up with anything. And you're like, man, what? Overall, Baker's playing quite well, except in these crunch situations, he's a disaster. Now, like it's the opposite. His career's like flipped, where Baker now is like clutch. He's money in these situations. And 2 minutes to go, it's like a signature Baker drive, and he made it work. And between Baker, Bucky Irving had an amazing catch and run. That dude is so good. But the Bucs got it done with the defense still coming after them.
We are live here right after the game. Geno Smith, first play of the game, throws an interception, by the way. Just throwing that out there for those watching the game. I will say with Baker Mayfield, I hate doing this because, gutsy performance. You've got 2 backup tackles. Baker's under pressure like crazy. Finishes with 33 yards on the ground. They needed every single one of those on those scrambles. You got Mike Evans one-on-one with Derek Stingley on the outside, so you can't even feed Evans like you would want to because you've got a heavyweight battle out there.
And they're tracking
awesome.
him, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got a lot going against Baker Mayfield here. He throws a dime to Emeka Egbuka. Egbuka lets him down. He put it right on his hands. Baker, though, through 2 weeks, he threw 4 passes right to the Falcons in week 1, no interceptions. Got away with one early in the game tonight, and then had that fumble where Rachaad White picked it up. I mean, we're talking 6 plays, pretty blatantly putting the ball in harm's way, and Baker has no turnovers, and he's got 5 touchdowns through 2 weeks. So there's some balls bouncing the right way for the Bucs through 2 weeks, but game on the line, Baker Mayfield, what an incredible drive, especially after really not doing much offensively since early in the second quarter for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's now become the kind of signature Baker way of playing, where he doesn't necessarily always play out of his mind, but actually in crunch situations, whether it's 3rd downs, 4th downs in this game, and then late in the game with everything on the line, one drive, actually Baker's becoming one of those quarterbacks you do want as the guy leading that drive.
So I wanted to talk really quick. The Texans goal line, everything that they did on the goal line was awful. I feel like they stole one a little bit, the Nick Chubb 25-yard touchdown run to put them up 5. They were pounding their head against a brick wall trying to run the ball, and they broke one for Chubb. I never looked back and saw if the Bucs were letting him score because the Texans were close enough to the 2-minute warning and within field goal range enough that you might want to take the first down, take a knee, and run the clock and just kick the game-winning field goal. Like, it was close enough to consider it. But they had 2nd and goal from the 1, as you mentioned a little while back, and they went downhill run out of the gun. Usually I don't care about the shotgun runs, but a downhill run right at Vita Vea, who blew it up. 2nd down, a little double move fade where the timing was just off between Stroud and Nico Collins. And then the 4th down play, my hatred for the goal line sprint out, sprint left option this time. My hatred for that is through the roof. Kurt Warner hates it too. JT O'Sullivan hates it too. All the QBs hate it because there's no misdirection on the play. It's not a boot. It's not a fake. It's not misdirection. You're just sprinting out. You're just like, hey, defense, I'm going this way. Come with me. And you shorten the field and cut it in half to try to get 1 yard, and they had no chance. That was awful. Then the other play of the game, Sam, they went for 2. After, we'd still be playing if they had converted this 2-point conversion. They line up for 2 after the Nick Chubb touchdown, and the Bucs blitzed 5. And the Texans look like, what's that noisy? I'm Joe Flacco. That's the noise you used to always make, right? That's the Texans trying to pick up a blitz. I don't know what to do. And 2 guys are running straight at CJ Stroud, and the play's dead. I mean, the plays from the 1 and 2 yard line did Houston in. And credit the Bucs for making the stop. But I just thought Houston's play calls and preparation on those plays as bad, if not worse, than what we saw last year. And that was a huge issue for them.
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got to wonder what Bobby Slowick is thinking watching a game like this, being like, I got booted out of town because I was seen as the problem. Like, I'm the fall guy, I'm the scapegoat, and yet it looks the same, right? I'm out of here. I'm in Miami right now, like roasting my balls off in the Miami Heat. Meanwhile, you guys still can't pick up a blitz or understand a stunt or anything. Like, it's still a terrible offensive line who still look like they've never seen any form of like pass rushing trickery whatsoever. And look, only some of that is a personnel problem. Like, it's not a good personnel group, you know? Like, when you're pre-game, when you're sort of celebrating the return of Ed Ingram, you know, Ed Ingram's back, so the line is now back the way it's supposed to look. It's like, I mean, I don't know if you've experienced Ed Ingram much as an offensive lineman in the NFL, but it doesn't tend to go that well. So it's not a good group, right? But in addition to being a pretty poor group from a personnel point of view, it still has that thing where it's like, if you throw a stunt, a blitz, any form of like simulation, you know, pressure at them, it's like they've never seen it before.
There was too many plays that are just dead at the snap for the Texans offense. Just no chance. And in this game, sometimes it was, you know, the center missing a block, Patterson or whatever. Sometimes it was missed block. Other times it was just, you know, they had no way to pick up a blitz, no chance. So, hey, credit the Bucs. They moved to 2-0, first place in the NFC South. Uphill battle now for Houston, falling to 0-2. The favorite in the AFC South, not exactly the way they wanted this thing to start. They got to figure it out from a pass protection standpoint. Our friend Greg Rosenthal said he loves these Texans games. They feel like heavyweight battles. They feel like these playoff games. It's like, yeah, because both QBs are under pressure 50% of the time, right? Because you have a great Texans front, and they don't mind sending pressure when they need to, and they can't block it up. So it does feel like an absolute battle for both quarterbacks, taking hit after hit every week.
This was fun because both quarterbacks are talented enough to make a few plays every now and again, you know. So sometimes you get these games where like the offensive line is garbage and you're like the quarterback's just not capable of doing anything, right? So it's just a bad game where one offense getting absolutely annihilated. Both Stroud and Baker Mayfield are both talented enough that even in the weight of terrible pressure and, you know, basically a non-functioning offense, every now and again, you know, Baker's going to take off, make the play on 4th and 10, or he's going to deliver that pass to Emeka Egbuka, or, you know, CJ Stroud is going to make one of those plays, like the touchdown to Nico Collins at the start of the game was
beautiful throw and
picture perfect. It was beautiful. But like, both these guys are capable of making just enough plays to keep it interesting. It's like they're running for their lives. They're desperately just trying to hang in there. And then every now and again, they're going to make a play. So it is pretty entertaining, even if it's like, I mean, you know, if Tampa Bay's offensive line you expect to improve because they've got two good tackles. They're just both hurt. Houston's offensive line, I don't know how they're getting much better than this. And as much as, you know, they can hang in a game like this, they can't, you know, win a gauntlet of AFC behemoths in the playoffs with this offensive line. Like, look, you know, maybe you could sneak one win, but you can't beat a sequence of like Buffalo, Baltimore, and whoever with this offensive line.
Other notable injuries really quick. You mentioned Bucs right tackle Luke Gedeke left the game pretty early. And then Kalijah Kancey, defensive tackle, he left with a pec injury. That's usually not good when they're already identifying the pec. I believe Dr. Chow's already saying probably the rest of the season, maybe a return late if there's a late playoff run. So unfortunate for the Bucs, couple injuries there to go with, you know, already missing Tristan Wirfs and Chris Godwin.
Yeah. Just, I mean, every NFL player seems to be dropping like flies right now.
Not great. All right, we got some Raiders Chargers. If you're live with us, if you're watching this tomorrow, you already knew what happened. So check out the memberships. We've upgraded the membership package. It's all in there. And hit subscribe and do all the things. What you got?
Yeah, upgraded the membership package for all 3 tiers. So each tier is now better than it was when we began the thing. We're just going to be we're experimenting with this. We're going to try and make them better all the way along. Big thank you to Desert Cottontail, our newest super fan, and to Mohal, a longtime fan of the show and now current insider, which means his name will be going up on the wall of the Check the Mic studio. And I think we decided we were going to cover the other game tomorrow morning. Is that our plan?
Oh, yeah, we'll do a Tuesday morning, early morning-ish recap. Early morning West Coast time. How's that? To talk Raiders, Chargers. All right, that's it for us. We're going to go watch the rest of the game.